Right now at 5, the Kansas Speaker of the House stopped by a community health center in Pittsburgh.
And we've got dry conditions for now in the area, watching thunderstorms rolling in from the west. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, the Pittsburgh Police Department makes sure their canine officers stay safe in the intense heat.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. So we are currently dry in the 4 states, but we are tracking some stronger thunderstorms just outside of our area this morning. And so we're going to go ahead and start right there with the Skywatch Storm Tracker. So you can see it's just outside of our immediate viewing area at this point, but we'll eventually be rolling into Greenwood, Elk, and Chautauqua counties. And we do have out north of Wichita a severe thunderstorm warning. However, some good news with that is it is expected to possibly be canceled here soon, as the overall severe threat seems to have weakened with it. But we do have this intense line of storms out to our west that's slowly pushing off to the east. There's been some bowing with it, which is why there were a few severe thunderstorm warnings earlier this morning. Because of that, we're getting some intense winds, and winds are the primary concern with these storms. Now, overall, we're not looking at any kind of widespread severe threat, or at least one is not expected. But this is definitely a line of storms that does bear watching as it continues to push off to the east-southeast. And again, we're just keeping an eye on that bowing feature that's been forming on the leading edge of these storms as they continue to push west. And of course, if any warnings pop up into our area, we will let you know right away. These storms, though, expected to last a little longer than what we saw yesterday. So by noon, still dealing with a complex of showers and thunderstorms out there. So that's also going to have an impact on temperatures as we head into the late morning and early afternoon hours. A few lingering showers by 4. As we head later into the evening, those will all clear out, and we're looking at partly cloudy skies heading into tonight. Right now it's 76 in Joplin, 71 in Pittsburgh, and temperatures around the area are still fairly mild. When I went out this morning, I did note it's considerably warmer than it has been the last few days. You can see we got low, mid, and a lot of upper 70s out there. Take a look at Veneta, for example, pushing close to 80 degrees this morning, so a very warm start and a very warm day ahead of us. So we'll have these thunderstorm chances again through at least noon, and they'll start to taper off by 3-4 o'clock across the area. We're looking at highs right around the low 90s across the most of the area, and some upper 80s, and of course, depending on how long it takes you to clear out, some of you, especially our eastern counties, may be a little cooler again today. We're going to continue to heat up and see heat index values get back into the triple digits in the next couple of days. We'll break down the full details in your full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, 2 people are dead, including a juvenile, after an early morning crash in McDonald County, Missouri. The reports came in at around 2:35 yesterday morning on Route EE just west of Lanigan. Troopers say the vehicle drove off the right side of the road and hit a cement box culvert and overturned. They say the driver, Caden Rock of Lanigan, and a juvenile were pronounced dead at the scene. Authorities arrest a motorcycle driver for DWI following a crash Sunday night. The crash happened around 9:45 near Kensner Road in Joplin. Troopers say a car pulling out of a private drive failed to yield to the motorcycle. Troopers arrested the motorcyclist for DWI and issued citations for no motorcycle endorsement and no insurance. He was released to seek medical treatment for moderate injuries. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Kansas State Representative and State House Speaker Daniel Hawkins yesterday stopped by Pittsburgh to tour the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas and its John Parlow Education Center. This center helps train much-needed healthcare workers to fill gaps in rural communities. Hawkins says his visit was designed to help him and other lawmakers understand the healthcare needs of the community.
To me, it was amazing to find out the number of people who come here that have insurance. It's not just an FQHC, federally qualified health center. It's also the health center for many people here in this part of the state. So for us, it's just a chance for us to get to know what's going on down here.
The Perillo Center supports rural family medicine, dental, nursing, and medical assistant training. Well, hot temperatures can pose a risk to animals, and that includes canine officers. This summer, there have been numerous canine heat-related deaths, including 2 in Missouri alone. KOAM Samantha Walker met with police departments in the 4 states to learn what steps they take to protect all of their officers on the hottest days.
Roan is one of our police officers, so we take care of him just like we would any one of our police officers.
Police departments in the 4-state area say they have policies and procedures to help protect their canine units in all temperatures. The Joplin Police Department has 5 active canine units, while Pittsburgh has just 1, named Roan.
We're going to do everything we can to keep Roan safe because he's our only dog, and he's, like I said, he's one of our officers, and he's family to us and to Officer Daney, so we're going to take care of him just like we would anybody else.
Both the Joplin and Pittsburgh Police Departments say they have several policies in place to help protect their canine units, whether temperatures be hot or cold.
If a vehicle drops below a certain temperature, an alarm will go off. It'll actually call our dispatch, call me, and call our canine handler, and let us know that there's something wrong with the car. It would drop below a certain temperature or when above a certain temperature. So when that happens too, the lights and sirens will turn on that car, and eventually, depending on what setting it's on, the door will actually pop so Roan could get out of the car.
JPD has a similar system in their canine patrol units. For handlers like Josh Cahoon, they say they're always aware of the temperatures outside. He says he tries to limit how much time his canine creed is out, especially on hot days.
The dogs can overheat real fast. You know, you get 100, 105 degrees outside. I don't know if you ever touch the pavement with your hand, but we have those thermometers sometimes that'll tell you how hot the pavement is, and the dogs just have pads. And I think that's what a lot of people overlook, is how hot it actually gets on the concrete, not to mention my dog's solid black and even seems to get hotter than any other dog. But with the heat, you just got to be self-conscious of everything that's going on.
For him, it's difficult hearing about working dogs passing and heat-related incidents. I
read the articles, and you see the ones that are left out in the sun and it gets to 105, and then the temperature is just beating down on these dogs. It's very upsetting. Don't like hearing a helpless animal dying, regardless of whether it's a police canine or any other animal.
Both departments say they go the extra mile to make sure their canine officers are happy and healthy, from spacious kennels at home to special diets. I'm Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
The Joplin Police Department asks that you call them if you see an unattended canine in a vehicle that has lights and sirens running. They say that's likely the emergency system alerting that the vehicle temperature is getting too hot for a canine officer. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes, coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Webb City has its first practice of the 2024 high school football season. Plus, a volcano eruption in central Mexico sends water vapor, gas, and ash into the sky. And rain chances continue. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Athletes, coaches, and fans have been waiting for yesterday for quite some time. It was the first day of fall sport practices for Missouri high schools, and our high school football 2024 season previews begin with one of the top programs in the Show Me State. Webb City football hits the practice field for the first time this season. The Cardinals enter year 2 under head coach Ryan McFarland and are coming off a trip to the state semifinals in 2023. These first couple of weeks of practice let the Cardinals make preparations they need in order to be game ready by the end of the month.
We don't take a single rep off, and so give us an opportunity we're stronger for the games, and so whenever we get in the games, we're playing faster than our opponents, and so we can catch them off guard and get some turnovers.
It's a mental thing for sure. I like to take time to really focus on what I'm about to do. I come out here sometimes to just walk the fields, think about the next day, think about the game, watch a lot of film. We watch a lot of film, run-throughs, stuff like that.
College football season is also right around the corner. Pittsburg State is less than 3 weeks away from its season opener at home against Ferris State with the release of the preseason top 25 yesterday afternoon. Find out that will be a top 10 matchup. Here's a look at the top 10 teams from the AFCA Division II preseason coaches poll. Pittsburg State finds itself ranked 6th. This comes after the Gorillas went 11-2 in 2023. Ferris State is up at number 3 after going 8-3 a year ago. That season opener in Pittsburgh is 3 Saturdays from now, August 31st. Second-ranked Central Missouri is the only MIAA team besides Pitt State to make the top 10. Summer collegiate baseball is wrapping up this week. The Joplin Outlaws have known for a couple of weeks they'd be in the playoffs, but now they know who that matchup is against and when it will be played. The Outlaws face the Sherman Shadowcats this afternoon at 3 p.m. in Abilene, Texas. This is just a one-game playoff, as is the championship, which is scheduled to take place on Wednesday. The Outlaws just lost 3 in a row to the Sherman over the weekend. Winner from this game plays the winner between Abilene and Piney Woods. Over to Major League Baseball, the Cardinals have been struggling since the All-Star break, and that continued last night. They scored the first run of the game against Cincinnati, but the Reds scored the next 6. Final score in 6-1. The Cards are 2 games out of the NL's third wild card spot. Very similar loss for the Royals last night. They scored the first 2 runs of the game with a Bobby Witt Jr. home run and Kyle Isbell RBI single, but the Twins go on to win 8-3. A win would have jumped Kansas City in front of Minnesota for the second AL wildcard spot, but after the loss, they're a game and a half behind. Still to come, a new study suggests children who have too much screen time could grow to have temper issues. Plus, got another check of that forecast, tracking thunderstorms out to our west when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:16 now on this Tuesday morning. We're starting with Skywatch Storm Tracker. So we are starting to get some light showers into parts of Greenwood and Elk counties out to the west. We are still watching these thunderstorms. Now, the good news is the severe thunderstorm warning that was associated with these, the last one, has expired. It has not been reissued, but we are still keeping an eye on the Boeing feature on the leading edge of this and on some of the winds that we're picking up down ahead of this line, now southeast of Wichita. We're still getting sub-severe wind gusts upwards of 40 to 50 miles an hour. So again, below severe limits, but we will continue to monitor these storms as they continue to slide off to the east-southeast, and they are expected to at least be able to hold their own for the next few hours as they roll through the 4 states. So again, at this point, we don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings with these. We're not anticipating any significant severe weather, but at the same time, as we've talked about before, Mother Nature does her own thing. So we'll keep an eye on this line as it continues to slide off to the east-southeast across the area. Future track shows these storms, though, still continuing to hang around by the noon hours, so we're going to be dealing with them through the morning and into the early afternoon. It won't be until about 3-4 o'clock that we start to see this begin to wrap up and slide out of the area. And of course, between the rain and the cloud cover, it's going to have an impact once again on high temperatures across the region. But on the average, we're looking upper 80s and low 90s for most of us today. But again, some of you may hang out in the low 80s for highs. We're having another mild night tonight as well, ahead of a very hot day on our Wednesday as temperatures continue to climb, this time into the mid to upper 90s across the region. So a significant warm up on the way for us. And then as we head into our Thursday, could see a couple of isolated showers or storms early Thursday morning. Most of the day is going to be dry and hot and muggy, and it won't be until late Thursday night into early Friday morning that we could see another round of showers and thunderstorms begin to push through the area. So a lot to keep an eye on over the next few days, and we'll definitely be monitoring these storms out to the west. And again, if there's any new warnings issued, anything comes up, we will certainly pop in and let you know what's going on as they push closer to our area. Right now, though, again, the majority of our viewing area is dry, and it is warm out there. Take a look at that dew point in Joplin, 71. So we're in that soupy range already. It's very muggy. You can smell the rain if you step outside. 76, partly cloudy skies, south breeze at 6, and humidity's up there too at 85%. Temperatures across the region, again, a very mild start, especially compared to where we were yesterday. We're upwards of 10 to 15 degrees warmer for many locations this morning compared to yesterday. So we have some low to mid 70s in our northern and southeastern counties, but then as you start to push further south and west, that's where the warm air is really kicking in. We've got upper 70s 70s. Veneta just a couple of degrees shy of 80 to start the day today. So again, a very warm start out there for us this morning. As we head through the rest of the morning, again, temperatures are going to vary based on the rainfall, because if you look at the data we look at, it plots out Joplin specifically among other communities, and if we follow just that, then these temperatures actually expected to drop later this morning for Joplin, for example, because that's when the model data says the rain will push in. So again, your temperatures will vary, but for those not necessarily getting right under a heavy thunderstorm, we're looking at going about 80 by late morning. We'll have the scattered thunderstorms through the morning. And again, these will last a little longer than they did yesterday. At least that's the expectation at this point. They won't start really clearing completely out until the early evening hours, late afternoon, early evening, leaving us with thunderstorms through the early afternoon, a few light showers later, and again, highs for most of us into the low 90s. After that, we'll start to go mostly clear to partly cloudy through the rest of the evening and into the overnight. We're going to be back down to about 77 by 10. Overnight lows, low mid 70s and some upper 70s. Absolutely not out of the question. As I mentioned, we're still keeping an eye on that potential for dangerous heat as we head into the next couple of days. We are watching that. We could see some heat advisories, especially as we go into Wednesday, possibly into Thursday as well, as we go into the mid upper 90s. And we could see those heat index values in the lower 100s, maybe in that 105 to 108 range as well for Wednesday. So something to keep an eye on, and something for you folks at home to keep in mind as well. We could be dealing with some dangerous heat index values once again. After that, temperatures are going to become considerably more seasonable. So still hot, but at least seasonably hot as we fall back in the low to mid 90s. We got a pretty decent weekend ahead of us, hot but otherwise dry, and we'll start to see the return of some possible thunderstorm chances as we head into next week. And if these all pan out, take a look at next Thursday, we could fall back into the upper 80s for our highs. So not too bad. Just got to deal with tomorrow and Thursday in terms of the dangerous heat potential. Again, we're going to keep an eye on those thunderstorms out to the west. If anything new pops up, we will certainly let you know. And we'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning. Children who have too much screen time could grow to have temper issues. A new study published in the JAMA Pediatrics Journal says children who have used tablets at 3.5 years old are more likely to show anger and frustration than others. The findings are based on a survey of more than 300 parents of preschool children. Researchers say early tablet use could lead to greater emotional problems later. Wellness expert Dr. Leanna Wen says there are apps on tablets that are educational, but adds that, quote, electronics shouldn't be used as pacifiers. Well, it might take more than a rinse to clean your produce. A study published in an American Chemical Society journal shows pesticides are likely to remain on fruits and vegetables even after being washed with water. The study found pesticides can penetrate the peel and pulp layer of produce. Researchers say peeling fruits and vegetables may reduce the ingestion of pesticides. Researchers also hope the new research will provide more information on the effects of pesticide residue on produce. When it comes to fighting cancer, early detection is key. Some types are difficult or impossible to diagnose before a certain point. Aubrey Spears talks to one researcher who is hoping to change that.
Triple-negative breast cancer gets its name due to its lack of receptors for estrogen, progesterone, and human epidermal growth factor. Typically, those three receptors are what doctors would target to destroy breast cancer cells through treatments like hormone therapy or drugs.
These cells are very aggressive and they do not progress through precancer stages like the other breast cancer subtype, and that's why they become very aggressive, and average survival rate is 6 to 12 months, and conventional chemotherapy is the only way to treat these patients.
Cancer researcher Dr. Santanu Dasgupta says there are no methods so far to diagnose it during the early stages, but Dasgupta believes a simple blood test could be a way.
What we have found that in the patients of TNBC patients, we have found in their blood there are mitochondrial DNA mutations which are present exclusively in their blood but not in normal individuals. So we have developed a panel of 11 markers, and that can be very useful to diagnose in the clinic for the patients.
Dasgupta says the goal is to create a mitochondrial DNA test to detect cancer in the localized stage when there are no signs it is spread outside of the breast.
You can have women who are coming for screening for the mammography and other mode of screening. So you can have those patients blood test for the mitochondrial DNA mutation, and using this method we would be able to tell whether certain patients are already developing TNBCs or they're at risk of developing it.
Dasgupta says the blood test isn't restricted just to TNBC.
So we are collecting samples from all molecular subtypes like HER2 positive, ER positive, PR positive, who are metastatic, who develop therapy resistance. So we can have all their blood collected and check the panel of mutations in them. And if it turns out it is useful for all of them, then it's not restricted on TNBC. We can apply it to all kinds of breast cancer and probably pancreatic cancer, lung cancer, other cancers too. So that's the goal, but one at a time.
University of South Alabama has applied for a patent on the development of a mitochondrial DNA detection platform. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we're continuing to keep an eye on thunderstorms progressively pushing into our area. We'll have another look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Right now at 5:30, McDonald County gets ready to head back to school with a 4-day week and plenty of teachers.
And most of our area is dry for the time being, but we're watching thunderstorms rolling in from the west. We'll have a look at those storms and that forecast to get you out the door coming up.
Plus, a bookstore in Joplin plans to pay for more than 1,000 school lunches this year.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. So we had a pretty mild overnight. It's very warm out there this morning. You can feel it. You can smell the rain, and we have rain on the horizon, and it is visible on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. So some good news. We do not have any current severe thunderstorm warnings with that line as it moves off to the east, but we did have some earlier this morning with that line. So it's something that we're going to keep a close eye on. Now, the good news, the other part of the good news is our environment here is not really conducive for severe weather. It's not really set up for these storms to continue to strengthen or become severe, but something that still is worth watching. Let's start with the Skywatch Storm Tracker. I'm going to show you where these storms are, starting now to push into parts of Greenwood County into southeastern Kansas, as well as Coffee County out there, and take a look at all of that lightning. So even though these storms are not severe at this point, which is good, and hopefully they'll stay that way, we're going to do a really quick lightning count on this batch here, and we've got over that entire line of storms, nearly 1,000 lightning strikes within that whole complex out to the west. So definitely a lot of electrical activity with these, still very active thunderstorms, but not severe at this point. And hopefully they remain that way, but they're going to continue to push off to the east. They still do bear watching, because even though our environment here is not necessarily set up for them to intensify or become severe, the environment wasn't 100% favorable for that to happen out to our west, but we still got some wind gusts. And that's the thing, anything that does get strong or severe, we're talking wind gusts with these. We haven't really seen much in the way of hail, but we are still seeing, even within this line, 40 to 50 mile an hour gusts, and that's still going to be a possibility as they push off to the east. So definitely a loud start to the day for many of us this morning, as these storms are expected to maintain their own, at least in terms of bringing us some much needed rain and a lot of lightning as they push off to the east. And they're expected to hang on a little longer than yesterday's activity. So by noon, still dealing with a few of those thunderstorms. It won't be until after 4 o'clock that the last of the rain showers get out of here. So of course, like yesterday, that will also have an impact on daily high temperatures for some of us. We're sitting at 76 in Joplin, 71 in Pittsburgh this morning, and around the area, as I mentioned, it's a very warm start to the day. Outside, on the outside edges of the southerly winds, we've got some low 70s. The rest of us into the mid to upper 70s to start our day. Most of us are looking at highs, upper 80s, low 90s. We'll have the thunderstorm chances, and they'll begin to taper off as we head later into the late afternoon, early evening hours, and we'll start to go partly cloudy overnight tonight. Then we've got to watch the potential for some dangerous heat heading into Wednesday and Thursday, and we'll break down the details on that in the full forecast, and that's coming up here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon, Chris. The Kansas Department of Revenue announced the winner of its new personalized license plate contest. The Flint Hills design was chosen and it will be available for purchase in 2025 for a price of $45.50. You can learn more about the design and the contest on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, kids in Pittsburgh had some fun before school kicks off again. The Victory Life Church hosted a back-to-school event at Lincoln Park yesterday. They partnered with the city and police department to host it. It featured free access to the city pool, free Kiddieland rides, free mini golf, free food, and a free backpack and supplies.
100 given away this year. Those are all sign-ups. Everything is a sign-up, which allows us to monitor the sign-up as we go along and raise the funds as we go along to meet the need. So we have a lot of community support that is able to put the event on, and also a lot of community support that donate to give the backpacks and the school supplies.
Kids kindergarten through 5th grade could receive the free school supplies. The McDonald County School District sees an increase in qualified teacher applications as they prepare to implement a 4-day school week for the very first time. McDonald County teachers are preparing for the new school year, and this year teachers and students will have Mondays off. The new shorter school week attracted many new teachers to apply and encouraged teachers considering retirement to continue teaching at the district. Officials say the change allowed them to recruit more qualified teachers.
Happiness is very important. Rest is very important, and we do believe that at the end of the day on Friday they have 3 days to get some rest.
McDonald County is the second largest school district in Missouri to implement a 4-day school week. The McDonald County School District yesterday also showed off some new buses. The district has 4 brand new buses, each of them capable of carrying 71 passengers. They have had several new features, as well as including electric doors and gear shifting mechanics that are similar to modern cars. Now they're training their drivers to use them.
Today we have our new buses here that we have. We have 4 brand new 71 passenger buses, which they've changed the design of those, and there's a lot of different features that the driver has to learn how to deal with. Electric doors and the shifting mechanisms are they're a lot more like they are on your regular cars right now. But there's some new things occasionally that come up like that.
McDonald County heads back to school next week. Well, a bookstore in Joplin paid for 1,000 school lunches last year thanks to their school lunch assistance program, and they're planning to pay for more this year. Always Buying Books is continuing to raise money to pay for school lunches in the 4-state area. Purchases from the book buffet go towards the program along with donations. The year-long program started last year when Bob Wolf noticed that paying for school lunches was a problem for some students.
I was anxious waiting for the school year to start back up. We're going to do it again. I noticed this year Joplin are charging for breakfast. Not very much, but just a little bit. And so anything we can help, we're going to do if we can.
Last year's program distributed 37 checks to 34 area schools. Now to look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A massive wildfire tears through the suburbs of Athens, setting off evacuations in numerous areas. Plus, the U.S. military is starting to send naval assets into the Middle East. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch, Banksy is at it again, but this time it's all about the fish. The artist turned a police box in London into a large fish tank. While it's different than his usual silhouetted pieces, it was confirmed as being a Banksy piece on social media. Some of the other pieces in the animal-themed series, which have shown up in recent weeks, include a rhinoceros mounting a car, a goat high up on a ledge, pelicans catching fish above a fish and chips restaurant, and a pair of elephants. Well, an eruption of the Popocatépetl volcano in central Mexico, blasting water vapor, gas, and ash into the sky. The country's disaster prevention agency says there have been 107 rapid bursts of gas and ash from the volcano. On Sunday night, there was also a volcanic tectonic earthquake with an estimated magnitude of 1.4. People are being warned not to approach the volcano, especially the crater, because of the dangers of falling fragments. The volcano is being monitored around the clock. Well, a massive wildfire tears through parts of Greece yesterday. The fire spreading through the suburbs of Athens, setting off evacuations in numerous areas. Hundreds of firefighters are battling the blaze and dozens of water trucks also engaging the fire. The wildfire began Sunday, burning homes and businesses. Now, 15 people are said to be injured, mostly due to smoke inhalation. The fire comes as June and July were the hottest months ever recorded in Greece. A deadly gas tank explosion in Venezuela yesterday. At least 7 people dead and 4 missing after a gas tank explodes in Caracas. A 3-story house leveled by the blast. Now, reports say some who lived on the ground floor were not able to escape the crumbling building. Firefighters are said to be sifting through the rubble in search of victims or survivors. The U.S. military is surging naval assets into the Middle East as the region teeters on the brink of a wider war. Jeff Paul is in Tel Aviv with more.
After some of the deadliest few days of Israeli airstrikes in Gaza, tensions are boiling over with the region on the brink of a wider war. In response to the strikes, Hezbollah fired a barrage of 30 rockets this morning at northern Israel. The Israeli Air Force later struck a Hezbollah rocket launcher. The back and forth is putting Israeli forces on high alert.
We take the declarations and statements of our enemies seriously. Therefore, we are prepared at peak readiness in offense and defense.
The U.S. is adding to the number of Navy assets in the region. With at least 12 warships now stationed in the Middle East, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin ordered the USS Abraham Lincoln to accelerate its travel to the region and is now sending the USS Georgia, a nuclear-powered submarine armed with cruise missiles.
Are we trying to send a message? Absolutely, we're trying to send a message, which is we're looking to de-escalate the situation, that we're looking to have capabilities in the region to protect our forces while also support the defense of Israel.
Hanging in the balance, a new round of negotiations between Israel and Hamas, which the White House says could be impacted if Iran and its proxies attack Israel.
With respect to potential timing here, could be this week. We're continuing to watch it very, very closely, but we have to be prepared for what could be a significant set of attacks.
President Biden, along with the leaders of Germany, France, and the UK, all issued a joint statement. They are pushing Iran to stand down from their threats against Israel, saying any attack on Israel could threaten the security for the entire region.
And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:46 now on this Tuesday morning. We're continuing to track thunderstorms rolling into our western counties. Again, earlier this morning we did have some severe weather with this activity. No severe thunderstorm warnings. However, these storms still quite strong. We're still looking at wind gusts 40, 50 miles an hour, so just below severe limits. So now we're getting through Eureka. We've had some development ahead of this line. We had this Boeing feature here. Now, again, it's not severe. It's still gusty. The wind's 40, 50 miles an hour on that leading edge. But we have new development taking place out ahead of that. So Yates Center, Fredonia, Burlington getting ready to get in on this action, and then gusty winds building back behind that. And then we take a look at this activity down here. It is trying to intensify a little bit, getting some small hail and still dealing with those gusty winds. Again, they're below severe limits, 40, 50 miles an hour. But we still want to keep a close eye on all of this activity. As it's not expected to intensify, but we all know that Mother Nature does her own thing. And so we'll just keep an eye on this line as it continues to slide off to the east. But take a look at this development that starts to form right ahead of this line, that Boeing feature there. So we're getting new thunderstorms out ahead of that into Greenwood County. So a lot of it bears watching. Again, we're not anticipating any significant severe weather. In all honesty, really shouldn't see much in the way of severe weather at all. But we are still dealing with some stronger storms that could potentially intensify to low-grade severe storms. So we'll keep a very close eye on all of that for you as we go through the morning. If anything pops up, we will, of course, let you know. Now, unlike yesterday, these storms thunderstorms are expected to last a little longer. Future Track's been relatively consistent with this complex of showers and storms persisting into the early afternoon hours across the area. And it won't be until after, say, 4 o'clock that the last of the rain showers begin to exit the area. And now, like yesterday, though, the one consistency here is, of course, if you have rain or cloud cover a little later, especially in our eastern counties, your high temperatures are going to be considerably different from your neighbors off to the west of you. So many of us looking at a very hot day today, upper 80s, low 90s, and it's going to be even hotter as we head into our Wednesday, as temperatures are expected to pretty quickly climb into the mid, maybe even upper 90s out there. And we're looking at that potential for heat index values of 100 to 105, maybe even as high as 108 in some locations. So heat advisories are a possibility. We don't have any officially for tomorrow, but it is something we'll keep an eye on as well, as something you need to keep an eye on as well, with the potential for dangerous heat. Another very warm night tomorrow night, maybe a few isolated showers and storms very early in the morning, and otherwise Thursday, another hot day as we go back mid-upper 90s for most of us out there. And then overnight Thursday into early Friday morning, we get another round of showers and thunderstorms, and some of those do look like they could have the potential to be strong to low-grade severe. Right now in Joplin, skies are partly cloudy. It's mild, 76. Dew point is muggy, soupy, honestly. Humidity's up there at 85%. Around the area, we've got those southerly winds feeding into this system. So on the farther edges of those winds, we're a little cooler, low 70s, but the majority of us mid to upper 70s as we start the day. While those thunderstorm chances again persisting through the morning hours, and this of course will impact your temperatures as well. We're looking to be about 80 degrees by 11 o'clock this morning. Once again, highs upper 80s, low 90s today, hot and muggy tomorrow and Thursday, and then we'll still be hot heading into the weekend and next week, but seasonably so, low to mid 90s with some additional rain chances next week. Let's check your forecast. We'll be back with more right after this.
Well, a teacher prepping for the new school year got a wild surprise when, from out of nowhere, a bear barged into her classroom. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
Lions and bears and boars, oh my! Okay, that's not the line, but we still got them all in a series of wild and, in one case, domesticated, caught-on-camera moments. First in California, where an elementary school teacher got a bonkers back-to-school surprise.
I opened my classroom door and there was this bear charging towards the door.
Whilst prepping for the new school year, a bear in her classroom is not what peak-to-peak elementary teacher Elaine Salmon was expecting. Yes, Salmon is her real name. This thing writes itself. Anywho, no trout about it, Salmon was officially shocked by the surprise, so she called her husband, who quickly came and helped boot the intruder out, thanks in part to some grizzled and guttural growling. Salmon says only a snack-packed earthquake kit was damaged. Her classroom was otherwise fine and ready for her other non-bear students. From an eager-to-learn bear to a cream-of-the-crop boar. This massive pig brought home the bacon, so to speak, at the Iowa State Fair, breaking the event's all-time weight record at a colossal 1,420 pounds. Soo-wee! That's a big old pig. Finnegan's his name, and his porky poundage eclipsed the previous record holder by a cool 85 lbs, making this prize-winning pig's portly performance anything but a bore. Finally, we leave you with a look at a pride of lions ready for prime time. The pack of predators at the Oregon Zoo were caught on cam when they happened to find a cam hidden in their habitat and made it a plaything for their prodigious paws and jaws. Wildlife experts say lions are the smartest of all the big cats, and evidently they're not at all camera shy either. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Stick around, we'll be right back. Rice Krispies Treats unveils a special treat for families, delivering one last taste of summertime fun. The brand announced on Monday its new Retreat Suite. The suite is decked out in Rice Krispie sheets, curtains, pillows, paintings, and of course the actual snacks. Located in the newly renovated Red Jacket Beach Resort in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, families can book the unique hotel suite free of charge, but they've got to act fast. Bookings open up on Monday on our first come first serve for a stay on August 16th to the 18th. If you're right-handed, try writing with your left hand for a few hours today. If you're left-handed, just kick back and relax because today is all about you. International Left-Handers Day is observed every year on August 13th. The day was created by the founder of Left-Handers International to recognize the approximately 10% of us who are lefties. It's a time to toast left-hand leaders like Ronald Reagan and Barack Obama, as well as musical legends like Paul McCartney, Jimi Hendrix, and Lady Gaga. In fact, it pays tribute to all those hard-working left-handed people out there who have to put up with the bias of a mostly right-handed world.
Given that list of left-handed folks, it seems like most left-handed folks turn into celebrities or some kind of big-time big shots. Maybe there's some advantages to being left-handed. Well, we are going to use, I'll use my right hand to point at things and my left one to change these. We've got those scattered thunderstorms that are going to continue through the morning, be about 80 by 11 o'clock. And we're looking at highs for most of us, upper 80s, low 90s, and thunderstorms continuing through at least 3. Rain will begin to exit after 4, and we'll fall back into the low to mid 70s tonight. Partly cloudy skies through the evening. Could be looking at dangerous heat tomorrow, though. Upper 90s. Heat index values into the triple digits. More storms Thursday night and seasonably hot into the weekend. We'll be back with more right after this.